Hi there. So you've downloaded your instructions and you've got your planners. So what I thought I would do is give a quick video instruction for how I've used this in the past and what I did to escape that worry about what people think of you. So I'll just do a quick explanation, a couple of things, a couple of contexts that I've worked on and how it's worked out for me and how the kind of worry and the things that I was doing really wasn't benefiting me at all. Really, it was kind of giving me the opposite consequences of what I actually wanted. So the first thing you look at is the context. Now, the context is literally just a situation where this, the worry is occurring. So that could be with friends, something to do with your family, or maybe something to do at work, meeting strangers, or if you've got to meet new people and things like that. It just allows you to build up a kind of picture for where you're doing it, and you might find that there's other contexts where you're not doing it, where you might be able to transfer some skills across. So one thing that I did was context was with friends. All right. Now the next thing on the list is the behaviour, which is just a simple statement of the behaviour, and that's it. Don't judge it. Don't analyse it. It's just a quick, simple statement of behaviour, and that's it, which is quite important. Because if anything like me, I used to kind of judge myself quite harshly, really, on my behaviours, rather than just seeing as a behaviour that's something that could be changed to get something, a better outcome. So the behaviour was avoiding a difficult conversation. I think in a previous life, for want of a better term, I would have been quite quick to go in there and judge that and start worrying about it. Oh, I'm avoiding this conversation and such like. But so doing it this way, it's a simple statement. So avoiding a difficult conversation. All right. So the next thing on the planet is the feeling. Now that's literally just to give you a bit of awareness of what sort of feelings are coming up in these contexts. You might find that there's the same feeling that's going through all the contexts. Or you might find that you've got slightly different feelings coming up in slightly different contexts. Might be a bit of an indicator that there's slightly different worries about certain things there. So if you keep it as a physical, just close to a physical description as possible, and that will avoid a misjudgment of those feelings that are coming up. Because I know some people, for example, will mistake excitement for anxiety. Which then quickly turns into the anxiety because you've misjudged that feeling. So the feeling is a strange feeling in the stomach. Now the next part of the planet is the intention. Now most of the time there will be a positive intention behind your behaviours. It will be done to gain something from doing it. So the thing that my intention behind avoiding a difficult conversation was comfort. Okay, so I was looking to gain comfort by avoiding that difficult conversation. All right. This is the consequences part of the planner, is where you can really kind of highlight the areas where maybe you're really not kind of getting the things that you want. You're not necessarily satisfying the intention as cleanly as you could be. So some of the consequences of avoiding this conversation with the intention of comfort, stress about it. I feel quite anxious, worry about it quite a lot. I might feel a little bit guilty for not having a conversation. So that you can begin to see all the kind of undesired things that are coming from this. And all the while I was trying to gain comfort, I probably wasn't getting that at all. I was just creating myself some stress and worry. So the last part on the list is other behaviours that satisfy the intention with less undesired consequences. Now, it will require you doing things that feel uncomfortable at first, because any kind of new skill, any kind of new behaviours that you're learning, things that you've been fearing for maybe quite a long time, as I did, will feel uncomfortable at first. So if you are just looking for a kind of what you think is the easy life, if you just want things to be comfortable all the time, you're not really kind of prepared to push yourself a little bit, push yourself past that comfort zone, then, maybe this process isn't for you, and you might be better off finding something different. But if you are up for pushing yourself, and getting the things that you want from this, and you do really want to escape this worry rather than just getting locked in your own mind, then this other behaviours part is something that you begin to do to get the things that, to satisfy that intention in a better way. So, this is quite a big one. It's kind of like jumping straight in to actually have the conversation with the friend. I don't know how, some people might be overwhelmed by that thought or feeling. Some people might be able to go ahead and do it, or you might find other ways of taking baby steps towards having that conversation. So you can have the conversation, just go straight in, have it, and you can experience the things that you were worrying about. Or you can get advice from other friends, what do they think? Are there other ways that they think you could approach it, maybe a bit softly? Any advice that they could give you? Look on the internet to see, how might be some advice on how to handle slightly difficult conversations. Basically anything that you could think. It's important just to list the behaviours. You don't have to do them all. It's important to pick one and do it. But you don't necessarily have to do them all. It's just about kind of giving your mind options as you go through this process. So that's one context that I did it, and that's how I go about using the plan. Another one that comes up is something I used to do at work. So that's the context, the work context, the behaviour, keeping quiet in meetings, the feeling that came with slight tightness near the diaphragm. The intention, was not wanting to look stupid, but the consequences of that, not wanting to look stupid because I worry about what people would think of me if I spoke up and wasn't quiet, was mistakes could occur. I wasn't entirely clear on what was required of me following that meeting because I didn't speak up and didn't say anything. I couldn't actually do my job as effectively as I could have been doing if I had have spoken up. And I probably would have ended up looking more stupid, to be fair, by not doing those things and not being as effective in my job as if I had have actually spoken up. So in a lot of ways, I wasn't even satisfying my own intention. I was just kind of suffering all these consequences. So then what could I have done instead? What sort of other behaviours would satisfy the intention with less undesirable consequences? I could have talked to people afterwards, which would have been one of those baby steps towards, maybe building up towards not being quiet in meetings. I could have gone straight in for it and spoke up in meetings, go straight in for that, really experience the thing that I was feeling uncomfortable about and worrying about what people might have thought of me if I spoke up. And ask for clarification. Maybe I don't quite understand this. I might feel looking a bit stupid, but it's actually quite a constructive thing to do for ask for clarification in meetings. Or express concern for something that I felt might not work, which is something else that might come up sometimes in terms of meeting, why didn't you say something before? We had that meeting to arrange this and kind of chip away at the thing that needs to be done and you didn't say anything. Probably does actually make me look a bit more stupid than just speaking up in the meeting. So I hope you can begin to see how these kind of planners and this kind of approach to the things that you've been worrying about can actually work out a lot better for you, as long as you put an effort into doing these behaviours and setting yourself the tasks and making a promise to yourself that you're going to do these things. Because once you begin to experience the things that you was worrying about in the first place, and experiencing the fact that it's actually not that bad and it's a better thing to do than what you have been doing previously, then in a lot of ways the worry isn't necessarily needed. So this is what I did, this is what I do sometimes. If I find myself worrying what people think increasingly less, to be honest, or if I've got other little challenges in my life, I can just use it for something completely different. So give it a go. Share your progress on the website. Let's know how you're getting on. Be honest with yourself and just go for it. And good luck.